So when it comes to the PlayStation 4, I really think there's one area of the PlayStation brand or the PlayStation 4 that Sony really needs to improve on. And in this video, we're going to be discussing one area I really think Sony needs to focus on when it comes to the upcoming PS5 and when it also comes to the PS4. I think Sony really has a lot of work ahead of them if they want to stay competitive, if they want to stay relevant, if they want to keep sales moving. I think Sony does have a lot to improve on. But let's start with the number one thing I want Sony to improve on when it comes to the next generation of consoles. And the number one thing Sony, in my opinion, really needs to focus on is their streaming platform. And yes, they do have a streaming platform, but Sony never really talks about it when it comes to the PS4 brand, when it comes to Sony and things like that. They just flat out do not talk about it. I'm actually talking about PlayStation Now, and PlayStation Now is absolutely a competitor to the Xbox Games Pass. But like I said, Sony does not talk about PlayStation Now. There's not even 1 million subscribers for PlayStation Now, and if you take a look at how many PS4s are floating around there's around 94 million PS4s out in the wild. So you can see there's a lot of PS4s out there on the market, and to have less than 1 million subscribers for your PS4, your PlayStation Now service, that really does tell you that they really don't care about it, they really don't promote it and things like that. And if you look at the future of gaming, when we're talking about gaming specifically, you guys know the future of gaming is going to be digital distribution to some extent, but really what's really driving gaming into the future is going to be streaming services, whether it's Google Stadia, whether it's xCloud from Xbox, whether it's Xbox Games Pass, whether it's PlayStation Now. I really think Sony definitely needs to focus on their PlayStation Now service. Now, I have tried PlayStation Now. I actually tried a trial of PlayStation Now, and what I can say from PlayStation Now was definitely a pretty good experience, but it wasn't nothing mind-blowing. And when I actually tried PlayStation Now, in my opinion, I remember trying it years ago, it was just an okay service. I wouldn't say it's the most mind-blowing thing in the world, and sometimes when it comes to the quality of the actual game being streamed over PlayStation Now, it was just okay. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't the greatest experience. I remember when I was actually using PlayStation Now, when I actually tried a couple of different games, some games didn't really feel like they were exactly 1080p quality. A lot of these games felt like they were much more toned down, softer versions of 1080p. It really did seem like there was a lot of compression going on, a lot of some artifacting going on, let me make that clear. But overall, the experience was just okay. Was it serviceable and was it passable as a service? Most definitely, and I think most gamers would be okay with their experience with PlayStation Now. But I think the biggest problem with PlayStation Now is the fact that PlayStation Now is a service you do have to be streaming the game online, and I think their infrastructure and I think the service itself is just not that capable, and there's definitely going to be better options on the market when it comes to PlayStation Now. Like for instance, if you look at what Microsoft is doing with xCloud, or even with the Xbox Games Pass that's currently on the market, for what you're paying for, you're actually getting a brand spanking amazing deal. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe PlayStation Now is $20 a month, I want to say, for PlayStation Now. So you can see PlayStation Now is very expensive, and Microsoft just made a brand new deal for their Xbox Games Pass. You may know this at E3 2019 that just happened. Microsoft did release a brand new tier of Xbox Games Pass, and in this brand new tier of Xbox Games Pass, they pretty much made it clear that you can have Xbox Games Pass on the PC now and have Xbox Games Pass on your actual Xbox. And I think for $14.99, I want to say, so it's $5 cheaper than PlayStation Now. You can get one hell of an experience. And the one thing I really love about Xbox Games Pass is the fact that Xbox Games Pass lets you download games directly to your Xbox. So once you're done downloading them, you can play them directly from your hardware, which is absolutely a killer when it comes to Xbox Games Pass. You don't really have to worry about your internet connection crapping out. You don't have to worry about how good your internet is. You won't have to worry about the game going sour if something happens to your internet, and I think that is the way to go. And on top of that, I do believe Xbox Games Pass does have way better selection and way more games when it comes to Xbox Games Pass. Sure, Microsoft in this current state with the Xbox One doesn't have as many games at their disposal when it comes to first-party IPs, when it comes to exclusives. You got your normal things like Gears of War, Halo, Forza, things like that. And then you got some other things in the mix that are Xbox One exclusives, and their lineup of games aren't the strongest, but what makes this a really good deal is you can play Xbox 360 games. You can also play, I think, Xbox One games, of course. And then the coolest thing about the Xbox Games Pass service as a whole is the fact that you can play brand new first-party releases on day one, and that's absolutely crazy considering that they're normally going for $60, and since these games are normally going for $60, you can pay $10 here for 1 month, pay $10 here for another month, and then play that one game. Like for instance, a lot of people who never wanted to buy Sea of Thieves found out Sea of Thieves was not a good game when it first launched. So what did a lot of people do? They bought Xbox Games Pass for that $10 a month, and then after a couple of months, or maybe even a month after they're done with Xbox Games Pass, they canceled their subscription to get Xbox Games Pass. So you can really see Microsoft is really killing it with Xbox Games Pass, and they're also going to have their next cloud service, which is xCloud with Xbox Games Pass, and then also what Google is doing with Google Stadia, and then there's other companies in the mix as well that are working on streaming services. I think like Ubisoft, and I think Nvidia also has their G streaming service. I do want to say there's a lot of competition on the market, and I really think this is one area Sony really needs to focus on. They need to make sure that their PlayStation Now is much more stronger. They need to beef it up. They need to charge less, because $20 a month compared to that $20 that Xbox Games Pass is charging for their system is much more better. $5 off, so 20 or 15 for the top tier. And then if you don't want to pay for the top tier for Xbox Games Pass, you can indeed pay for the $10 a month one, which just includes, I think, one platform, whether it's PC or whether it's the Xbox One. Overall, you can see there's just a lot of competition. I really don't know why at this very moment, why Sony is not promoting PlayStation Now, because like I said before, I tried PlayStation Now, and from what I tried of PlayStation Now, I thought PlayStation Now was a pretty good service. It wasn't amazing. They definitely have a lot of work, but they really need to work on that, in my opinion, to be a viable competitor next generation, because everything looks like it's moving into the streaming realm, and since everything's moving into the streaming realm, we don't want Sony to be left behind. And I really think, in my opinion, Sony really needs to hunker down and start promoting PlayStation Now, start focusing on PlayStation Now, and start putting more games on PlayStation Now and things like that, because they do not want to get left in the dust. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.